Hey, what's up, world builders? This is your dear brother, Pastor D here. I just want to dive right into this time that we have together. And one of the things that I really believe is important is that we understand, the language of wealth. One of the greatest challenges that I found in my dealings with individuals when it comes to building wealth and creating wealth is the lack of knowledge. The lack of knowledge. The Bible says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." It's Hosea 4 and 6. My people are destroyed because of what we don't know. Now, the verse before that, I believe it's either before that or beneath that. Let me read it. It talks about why. It shows us why they lack knowledge. I think it's important that we understand why we lack knowledge. It's not, we quote the scripture, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge," but we never get into why we lack the knowledge that we don't have. That is critical. That is critical for us to know why it is and what it is that we don't know. Why we don't know it. It's critical for us to know why we don't have the knowledge that we should have when it comes to certain aspects of life. It says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge." That's what I want to get at. It's the same verse. It's verse 6. The B clause of that verse. And it says, "I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, that I will also forget thy children." Well, we see here in that particular verse, it brings, I'm not to get into the whole verse, but because it's not that, when we reject something, it rejects us. It ain't, and that's it don't need to reject me. If I reject it, then it can still want to be with me. But as long as I'm in a state of rejection, then it can't do nothing for me. Well, in this case, we see that our lack of knowledge and our rejection of knowledge, our rejection of knowledge causes our children to suffer. That's what it says in the last verse. It says, and forget thy children. So that our children suffer because of what we don't know, because of what we reject. Don't reject the basic knowledge of financial literacy. Don't reject it. God can only anoint what you know. If you become knowledgeable in something, an anointing can come on you to operate in that knowledge. Well, in my travels and in my challenges, I found that very few people, and I can remember when I was financially illiterate. When I was financially illiterate, I should say, when I didn't understand. At one point, as I've shared with you before, I was a professional football player, and I was making a whole lot of money, but I was ignorant when it comes to the financial aspect of my life. And because I was ignorant, I couldn't sustain all that I had. I couldn't multiply all that I was given. I didn't have a mind to multiply. I had a mind to spend and consume. Glory be to God. I thank God for salvation. I wasn't saved when I was playing professional football, and I thank God for salvation now. And since then, the Lord has given me businesses. I've started businesses. I've been able to accumulate. I've been able to multiply. And now I want to be a blessing to you and help you multiply. But if we're going to function and operate in the financial arena, we have to understand the language. Language is key. Language is important. And again, this video is not to give you and download you with spiritual edification. This is the specifics of financial literacy. And I'm just going to just give you some basic things to start off with, because I found to try to jump to the 5th grade when you still might have someone in the 1st grade, it doesn't do us any good. So I'm going to start off slow. I'm going to give you 10 basic financial terms and definitions of those terms, so that you can build your library, you can build your knowledge and have a base of what it means, what certain words mean in the financial arena. And it's simple. It's key. You probably be familiar with some of these words, but I'm going to go through them. I'm going to zip through them. My intention is for this video not to be no more than 15 minutes long. So I'm just going to mention stuff, highlight stuff, and write stuff down about certain definitions and certain terms. But it will make you familiar and will make you aware of, the top 50 to 60 terms, or the most used 50 to 60 terms in the realm of business, in the realm of finances. I created a manual that I studied, that I broke down and I studied. You can see all my notes and what I do when I read and I study and I meditate and stuff. I write it down and I study it. So it's called my basic business financial terms and definitions. It's like building wealth God's way, basic business and financial terms and definitions that we need to know. We're going to function as the entrepreneurs that God has called us to be. I hope you devoured these videos and you see now that God is raising up entrepreneurs. That God made your nature is an entrepreneur. You were designed to get a job and stay there for 40 years. You were designed to be an entrepreneur, and you were designed to create wealth for your family. You were designed to leave an inheritance, which is a wealth creation system. You want to leave a wealth creation system for your children's children to take, and not just wealth, I should say. Let me say that. Not just the money, but you want to leave the system by which you ascertain the money. You want to see The Bible says, I've given you the ability to get wealth, to get it. How you got it is important. That's the foundation to the inheritance you want to leave. You want to leave some spiritual wealth. You want to leave some economic business systems so that your children's children can be blessed. Even if they blow all the money, they know how to go back and get it again. So I want you to just go with me and walk with me through these basic business and financial terms so that you have an understanding and develop some skill. That's what we're talking about, some skill. I'm talking about some skill. My God has given us some ability, but we got to develop the skill to maneuver in the marketplace and to make our businesses attractive and to make our business and put our business in the best position so that they can prosper. So I'm just going to dive right in. What I also want to say is this too. You have to take advantage of the opportunity afforded you. I know you might be in a situation where you're on your job. You might be in a situation where you don't have a lot of time. You might be in a situation where you don't have a lot of know-how. But guess what? God has blessed me. God has empowered me. God has given me the ability to pay for the platform, to set things up for you so that take care of all the upfront costs, to take care of all the back-end work, to do all of those things for you. Because I want to function in the highest calling known to man. Listen, and that's being a blessing. The promise to Abraham was that he would be a blessing, that in him shall all the families of the earth be blessed. I want in me, in my circle, in my community, I want all the families in my community that's a part of building wealth God's way to be blessed. I'm talking about to be empowered, to prosper, to build wealth, to create wealth, and to have enough wealth that their children's children can start off and have a head start in front of all of their competition. That's what I'm talking about. So for me to be able to do this for you, for me to be able to do all the heavy lifting and take care of all the upfront costs, all the back end work, and make things as easy as possible for you. I know what it's like to be in a situation where you got to work 40 and 50 and 60 hours a week, and after that you got to take your work home with you. Because to be honest, work is designed to be who you are. Work is designed to be with you 24/7. I love the calling that's upon my life because I live this every single moment of my life. Well, that's what your work, that's what your vocation, that's what your calling was designed to be, something that you live with every day, something that you love. But I've been there where I had to be on the job. I've been there where I had to do things where I didn't love, but I had to do because I had to make ends meet. And then I had to build toward being in that place where I could be financially free from the obligations of having to work the job. Okay? I want to help you do that. I want to help you to get to at least now, I'm talking about a minimum of $5,000 a month within a however long you want to take, 2 to 4 year time. I won't push you to get to 4 years. I'm gonna push you to get to 2 years. But I understand if it takes you 4, then that's what it takes. And so, but in order to do that, you got to have some basic. The Bible says it like this: wisdom in Proverbs 4 chapter 7 verse. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get it. And in all you're getting, get an understanding. Wisdom is the ability to maneuver within the business realm skillfully. It's the business to be skillful. It's the ability to be skillful in business. Wisdom is the ability to be skillful in the marketplace. Man, that's a powerful definition. Wisdom is the ability to be skillful in the marketplace. The Bible says wisdom is the principal thing. It's the principle. That word principle, that means the first. It's the priority. It is the ruler. It's the word principal, P-A-L. It's the ruler. When you think about a principal, what's the principal's responsibility in the building? He's the ruler. He's the overseer. He's the direction giver. He's the conductor. You know, he dictates what happens within the confines of that building. He establishes a culture. He establishes processes. He establishes order in that particular building. That's what a principal is. Principal is focused. It's the student body. Everything the principal does is for the student body. The wisdom that God wants to give us is so that we can create and build wealth so that our children's children can be blessed. That's what I'm on now. This thing, I'm on that generational, that 2 and 3 generational blessing. I don't just want my children. I don't just want to be blessed. I don't just want my children to be blessed, but I want my children's children. So I'm talking about my grandchildren. Matter of fact, I want to go down to 7 generations. I want to go down to 7. I want to go to as far as many generations as I can possibly impact. That's what I want to impact, and that's how we got to start thinking, so that we can take the people who look like us. We can take our community. We can take the urban community. We can take the poor, and we can take the poor and transition it from being poverty, from being poor and transferring that generational curse to being wealthy and translating into generational blessing. That's what we want to get to, and perpetuating that, as long as they possibly can. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get it. Therefore, get it. 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 And with all you're getting, get an understanding. So the ability to function in the marketplace skillfully. The principal thing that the wisdom will dictate how you function, how you operate, what you do in business, how you function in business, how you live your life as an entrepreneur, how you structure, how you maintain order, how you deal with your customers, how you relate to customers, how you relate to employees. I mean, wisdom will cover the everything from A to Z when it comes to entrepreneurship, business operation, and functioning. Therefore, while you're get an understanding. Understanding is functional, workable knowledge. It's the knowledge that we have that enables us to function in our particular position or in our particular calling. It's the knowledge that I have to function as a CEO. It's the knowledge that I have to function as a manager. It's the knowledge that I have to function as an implementer. It's the knowledge that I have to function as a communicator. It's the knowledge that I have to function within the framework of what my business and how to operate in the marketplace. That's what knowledge is. So when you're skillful, when you understand that wisdom and that skill that you have will touch and dictate everything that happens within the business, and you have an understanding, you can have a functional knowledge of how to operate within the realm of your domain. Man, you're talking about dominate. You are talking about dominating. But it all starts with you being able to speak the language of wealth and having some financial literacy, right? So I want to just give you 10 basic definitions, so that we can move forward in our ability to know what we know. So the first word I want to share here is, it says accounts payable. So basically, accounts payable, and I'll just read you some of the things that I wrote down. It says we want to focus on reducing accounts payable first and foremost. Reducing. You don't want to have a whole lot of people you owe money to. Accounts payable is basically it's a term. It represents the obligation to pay debts owed to lenders, suppliers, creditors. It's referred to as AP and can be short or long term depending on the types of credit provided to the business owner. So basically, we want this to be drastically reduced. So this basically speaks to the what you owe as a business to people. It's what you owe. And again, you want this to be as small as possible. No, initially starting off, you might have to create some people that you owe. You might have to create some debt. You might have to come up and do things, on credit. And that's okay. That's getting started. Don't let people tell you that it's not biblical to be in debt. Don't tell people that. It's how you use debt. Debt can be a good thing if you use it according to the Bible way. Remember, Jesus told the widow woman with the 2 sons, he said, go and borrow. And he said, live off of it and pay off your debts. So business, it's okay to borrow and allow the business to pay off the money you borrow. And that's just in short, okay? The next word is accounts receivable, which was known as AR. I'm just going to put the accounts receivable. It's the opposite. Accounts that people owe you. It means you're receiving revenue. It's revenue that you're going to receive. It basically means what's owed to the business in the form of goods or services. It says I label sometimes obligations whether it's cash on a long-term or short-term basis. But accounts receivable is basically money that's owed to you. Again, you want this to be reduced as well. I know that sounds contradictory, but you want this to be reduced. You want to get money in hand as fast as you can, because eventually it's going to affect your cash flow. So when you have a high accounts receivable, this affects cash flow, because this money that's owed to you, this money that's not in your pocket, this money that you've already rendered a service but you don't have. And I know because of business, there's certain things you have to do. You have net 30-day processes that you give people time to pay you, but you want to be able to get have cash in hand as soon as you possibly can. So if you got a high accounts receivable, I remember watching the movie. I can't think of the name of what a young lady had the biggest poker game in town, and I just watched it. I can't remember the name of it, but at any rate, she had a high accounts receivable, and she had some dudes that would want to collect the money for her, and some mobsters wanted to connect with her, and she wouldn't go for it. They came showing up at her apartment, they jumped on her, but I can't think of the name of the movie. But she had a high accounts receivable. She had a lot of money out there that people owed her. It was like $10 million, but she wouldn't collect it. Well, you don't want to have that high accounts receivable. You do want, because can be a good thing, but you don't want it to be too good, because you end up having a whole lot of people owe you money, and ain't nothing you can do with people who owe you money until they pay you. Okay, so those two terms. So you get familiar with those two terms when you're talking business. When you talk business, get familiar with those two terms. Accrual basis. Okay, so accrual basis this is an accounting term and the way of recording. And what I wrote about that, what I highlighted about that is, it is a method of recording income when it is that's actually earned, or money you can expect to receive in the future, right? It's accrual basis accounting is the most common approach to use by large business to record and maintain financial transactions. It's a way for you to record your financial transactions, and also a way for you to predict what you have coming in at a later basis. Also, it keeps track of the expenses accrued during that particular time of a business transaction. So this accrual basis really gives you an idea of what's really going on within the business. So you want to understand what it means to have an accrual basis when you're in business, and understand what accrual and things of that nature are, so that you can have a clear picture of what it is that's going on when it comes to the business. Accrual, just the word accrual. This deals with expectations of expenses. This is when you can project what it'll cost. It says business finances terms and definitions referring to expenses that have been incurred but have not yet been recorded in the books. Wages, payrolls are common examples of that. So these are expenses that you can see or forecast or see coming, that you can prepare for them. Okay, so this is important. This becomes very important when it comes to business. Knowing how much it's going to cost you to generate income is important. Knowing how much it's going to cost you to operate and function within your business is important. I remember when I first started one of my businesses, I wasn't able to project accurately. I didn't understand how accurate my projections needed to be in order for me to cover and bear all of the expenses. What happens a lot of times, if you don't have an expectation of what the expenses will be, you'll project generating a certain amount of revenue, but you don't think about all the little nuances and the little things and the small things that end up adding up and costing you money when it's all said and done. So you want to have a thorough understanding of the things that you're going to accrue or incur, the costs you're going to incur during business operation. Okay, that's important. The second thing is assets. I'm at the fifth thing, I'm sorry. So the fifth word term is assets. Very important. This is any term, and I'm going to give you just the definition when I was sitting down meditating on it, because I got my own version of saying what I want to say. But this is a key term that speaks to anything that has value, whether tangible or intangible. It's owned by the business and considered an asset. Best asset or business assets: cash on hand, accounts receivable, buildings, equipment, inventory, anything else that can be turned into cash. These are called assets. One of the key things about assets, you have to learn to leverage your assets. Leverage your assets. I'm talking about from your intellectual knowledge to your gift set. You need to learn to leverage your assets. You are a walking asset. Let me say that first and foremost. You are your greatest asset. That's what I want to say to you. You are your greatest asset in Jesus' name. You are the greatest asset that you have. You have to learn to leverage leverage your assets. It's important for you to understand anything that you can translate, or like I say, translate into cash is leverage. I mean, it's an asset, and you need to learn to leverage your assets. You are your greatest asset, though. Understand that. You have to invest in you. You are your greatest asset. Oh, okay, that thing keep coming to me hot. You are your greatest asset. See, some of you think you don't have enough assets. You think you don't have enough assets. You have all the asset you need in you. You have to invest in your assets. Invest in you. You being a part of this portal, you looking at this video, is you investing in your greatest asset. You are your greatest asset. Invest in you. You're an asset, not a liability. Don't care how many mistakes you've done made. You are your greatest asset. You can become more valuable, the more wisdom and the more understanding you gain, the more valuable you become as an asset. Man, that's good. You are your greatest asset. Be the asset that God has called you to be. You have gifts inside of you. You have treasures inside of you. You have skills inside of you. You have natural abilities that's been given to you. You have acquired skills you've gotten. You are your greatest asset, and you need to start investing in you. That's prophetic instruction. You need to start investing in you. You need to start investing in you. You need to start investing in you. You need to stay connected to building with God's way and start investing in you. Get involved in some of our other programs that we have. Get involved, buy our books and buy our program. Get everything you can possibly get. Get everything you can possibly get coaching from me, get books, get everything you can possibly get. Order this manual. You want this manual, I'll send it to you. But you need to invest in you. You're your greatest asset. Okay, I gotta keep going. Balance sheet is next. Balance sheet. Balance is important. So balance sheet is basically the essential information that gives us a snapshot of a company's net worth at any given time. It's a summary of the assets and liabilities. That's what I want to say. It's a summary of assets versus, I like to say versus, liabilities. Me being a competitor that I am, when you think balance sheet, think assets versus liability. And I'm talking about it's a war, baby. It's a war. It's a game day warrior. It's a game day. It's a warrior. You got to be at war. You got to be in the business. Listen, this is the bottom line to business. Am I winning this game right here? Am I winning this game, assets versus liabilities? Am I winning that game? Because to the degree that I win this game will be to the degree that your net worth is established. Your business net worth is established to the degree you win in this ball game. Your assets versus liabilities. So your balance sheet is a quick snapshot of your assets versus your liabilities. And listen, I want this to be a cash. I want my cash flow, which is an asset, to be beating this by a long shot. You know what I mean by that is, I don't just want my building, my property, my physical assets to be even involved in this game. I want my cash flow to be greater than all my liabilities. I want my cash flow to be greater than all my liabilities. That's what I'm talking about. I want cash on hand. I want my working capital to run my business to be far greater. I want them to supersede that. So there you have it. That's the idea of a balance sheet. It's a snapshot. It's how you balance your assets and your liabilities. Okay? Next thing, bookkeeping. And again, step 7. These are going to be simple things. But I just want to mention them just because you need to have this in your knowledge. It's basically the method of accounting that involves timely record and financial transactions for each business. Your bookkeeping is important. I struggled at this when I first started my business. I struggled at it because I was trying to do it myself, and that's not my gifting. I struggled at it. And it cost me. It cost me dearly. It cost me. When you don't have good records and good bookkeeping, it'll cost you. It'll cost you tax-wise. It'll cost you profit-wise. It'll cost you. So you want your bookkeeping to be tight. I'm telling you, you can't do it alone. You need to find you somebody that is able to keep the books and keep the records promptly, timely, orderly, specifically, so that you can look at it and it is just plain as day. I should be able to look at your records, your bookkeeping, and be able to determine where you are in business. I didn't have that when I first started out, and I struggled. Thank God. Thank God for growth, though. Third thing is capital. I'm sorry, I keep saying the third thing. The 8th thing is capital. Okay, capital. Definition of capital is it refers to the overall wealth of a business demonstrates in the cash accounts, assets, investments, often called fixed capital. It refers to long-term worth of the business. Capital is the tangible, durable goods, buildings, equipment, or intangible, such as intellectual property. Right. So your capital, again, we have to learn to capitalize on our capital. Capitalize on capital. Capital is key. Capital is everything that you can possibly possess that enables you to do business. You have capital. You are your capital. There's capital inside of you. You just got to mine it out. You got to mine it out. The greatest capital, the greatest capital is intellectual property. See, and I don't have time to get into this teaching, but listen. You have what I like to call mental real estate. That is your capital. The battle for the mental real estate in your mind is raging right now. A war is raging for the intellectual property, for the property of your mind, your thoughts. They're battling. The Bible uses the term citadel. High things that exalt themselves. The devil wants to use thoughts to possess the mental real estate. Thoughts and beliefs is how we possess mental real estate. It's through what you believe. And it's the things that you think on will determine what possesses the mental real estate of your mind, right? So your intellectual property speaks to the belief systems and thought paradigms that you have toward business and toward life and towards things that you do. So you have to capitalize on those things. It's about the capital and the assets that you have to help you build business. And so you want to be mindful of the capital and what's capital, what can be capital. You need to make a list of everything that's capital in your life, from the intangible to the tangible. And then you have to say, how can I do business with the capital that I've been given? Once you sit down and understand that, anything, it refers to the overall wealth of a business. It demonstrates its cash, demonstrated by its cash accounts, assets, and investments. Capital can be tangible, like durable goods, buildings, equipment, or intangible, like intellectual property. So anything that's tangible and intangible, you need to write down and know what you have for your capital. Okay? Working capital. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Number 9, I was right though, because I know these things. Working capital. Working capital. This working capital really speaks to what I like to call cash on hand. Cash. What the cash that you have, let me read the definition. Working capital consists of financial resources necessary to maintain the day-to-day operation of a business. Is the business cash on hand or instruments that you can convert into cash quickly? So that is working capital. Anything that you can go get right now. If somebody called me, there's an emergency within the business and I got to go pay for something, I can go pay for it right now. I can go right to wherever I keep my cash, and I can go right to it, and I can make it happen. Right? So cash on hand is important. You have to have cash, working capital that you have. So there's certain capital that's not working capital. That's not functional capital that I can't go and I can't convert into cash right away. I'm talking about something that I can go convert into cash in the next hour or two. That's how you view working capital. Anything that you have outside of cash that you can go and convert into cash within the next hour to deal with any emergencies, to deal with any mishaps, or I shouldn't even speak from the negative, to take advantage of opportunities as they come by, because opportunities last only for the lifetime of the opportunity. You hear what I'm saying about that? You have to seize, and sustain opportunities. We said the lifetime of an opportunity is as long, or you have to take advantage of the opportunity of a lifetime within the lifetime of the opportunity. Opportunities come with a lifespan. Some may be 30 minutes. Some might be 30 years. Some might be 15 minutes. Some might be 15 hours. You have to be able to take advantage of the opportunity in the lifespan in the lifetime of that opportunity. So when it comes back, so when you know what kind of working capital you have to know, well, if I need to go get $1,000, I can go and I can convert this into cash. I don't care if that means going down to the pawn shop. You can convert that into cash. Look at that as working capital. I can go convert this and get rid of. I can't go sell I mean, maybe I could. I don't know. Maybe you could go sell your car within an hour or 2 hours. Maybe you could. But in most cases, you got to think about what can I go and convert it into cash, and that will be what's considered your working capital. Okay. And then lastly, now let's get out of it. Cash flow. And we all know the importance of cash flow. And just to read the definition of cash flow, focus. This is the focus or the life of the business. Is cash flow. It says cash flow refers to the amount of operating cash that flows through the business and affects the business liquidity. Cash flow reports maintain tight control of the cash flow is especially important for small businesses. Right? I can remember when I first started off my business, I had to have a strict account and know exactly what my cash flow situation was, because when you operate on a small budget and you have bills to pay, you got employees to pay, you got things you got to purchase, you got things you got to do, you got to operate. It's a lot. So to understand cash flow and keep it and have a nice, healthy cash flow is always the goal in business. It's always the goal in business. You want to be able to have a cash flow. Cash is king, and to keep it flowing through your business is important. So I'm gonna stop there because I don't want to bombard you with too much. If you'd like a copy of my Building Most Guys with Basic Business Financial Terms and Definitions that we need to know, then let me know. I'll get that to you. And you can go on, grow in the knowledge, grow in wisdom, so God can anoint you to be the entrepreneur that God has called you to be. Listen, the kingdom of heaven is about entrepreneurs. It's about creating wealth, maintaining health, and being a blessing. Hey, I gotta go. God bless you. I'll see you next time.